virtual. The President of the European Council is joined by the President of the Commission in the press room of the Commission. Following the statements by the two presidents, we'll take questions that were massively forwarded to the Council press service. But first, I give the floor to the President of the European Council.
Well, good evening. First of all, I would like to thank you for your presence for this video conference. We had the occasion for the first time in 3 weeks to have a European Council's meeting with a video conference. It was important to monitor the situation in order to be certain that we are able to do the follow-up of what we have taken as political orientations the last weeks. And you know that we have decided to work on 5 concrete priorities. First, we continue to take measures and to coordinate with the member states in order to limit and to reduce the spread of the virus. Is essential because it's important to try to strengthen our healthcare system and to reduce and to limit the spread of the virus. We have also taken important decisions regarding the borders, the internal borders and the external borders, and we have observed that we have made a lot of progress, and you know that our priority is to reduce the not essential travels of people, but at the same time to maintain and even to guarantee the flow of goods, which is very important in order to avoid the shortages and to protect as much as possible the single market. The second important point is the medical equipment. How is it possible to provide more medical equipment to assist the member states? And we had the occasion to be informed about the progress we made in the different procedures which have started on this topic. It's of course very important to continue all the efforts at the national level, at the European level, in order to provide the equipment for the health workers especially. Third point is the research, and we will continue also at the international level. We had a video conference today with the G20 to be part of a common strong commitment in order to develop and to produce the vaccines we need as soon as possible and the therapies we need as soon as possible. Le quatrième point porte sur les questions économiques. Nous mesurons bien que la crise qui frappe l'Europe et qui frappe le monde entraîne des conséquences économiques et donc des conséquences sociales. Il était donc très important, les derniers jours, d'agir rapidement. Les États membres, d'une part, qui ont mobilisé des moyens pour venir en soutien des secteurs qui sont très directement touchés par les mesures très restrictives qui ont été décidées et qui ont un impact sur le plan économique. Il était important aussi de soutenir sans réserve la décision qui a été prise par la Commission et par le ministre des Finances en lien avec le pacte de croissance et de stabilité, dans le cadre duquel la clause de suspension a été activée, ce qui donne des marges de manœuvre exceptionnelles aux États membres compte tenu des circonstances exceptionnelles, et aussi de valider les propositions qui ont été faites pour donner plus de flexibilité dans le cadre du régime des aides d'État. Et enfin, le cinquième point porte sur la question du rapatriement des citoyens européens dans des pays tiers pour lesquels, là aussi, l'Union européenne, avec les États membres, nous agissons et nous devons continuer à agir pour tenter de réussir à rapatrier les citoyens européens dans des pays tiers qui souhaitent rentrer vers leur pays. Nous avons eu l'occasion d'un échange politique extrêmement dense, intense et de qualité pour se projeter dans les prochaines semaines, dans les prochains mois. Ainsi, nous allons demander à l'Eurogroupe de poursuivre un travail absolument intense sur le plan des propositions qui peuvent être faites pour nous amener à être en mesure de faire face à cette crise et à ses impacts économiques et à ses impacts sur le plan de la stabilité de l'Union européenne. Et puis nous avons aussi décidé de confier à la fois à votre serviteur mais aussi à la plan de la Commission européenne ainsi qu'avec une capacité de consultation des différentes institutions, spécialement la Banque européenne, afin de travailler sur un plan de relance relance et sur une stratégie d'exit pour préparer les coordinations qui seront nécessaires quand progressivement on sortira de cette crise et quand on devra mobiliser tous les moyens possibles afin de pouvoir garantir à court, moyen et long terme une capacité de bien-être, de prospérité pour l'Union européenne, pour les citoyens européens, pour les familles et pour l'ensemble des entreprises, spécialement les petites et moyennes entreprises. En un mot, l'unité et la solidarité sont des objectifs permanent, ça nécessite d'être totalement mobilisé, de faire des efforts de conviction et nous avons fait la démonstration de notre capacité à progresser ensemble pour tenter de gagner cette bataille qui est une bataille extrêmement difficile auquel le monde est confronté, auquel l'Union européenne est confrontée et nous savons toutes et tous qu'aucun pays seul ne pourra remporter cette bataille, c'est en travaillant ensemble, dans la coopération, dans la solidarité, dans l'unité que nous pourrons garantir un retour à une situation plus normale.
Now we go to the President of the European Commission.
Yes, thank you, and good evening from my part. We are now several weeks into the crisis, and this is why it is so important to ensure that we coordinate and align as much as possible our actions, both between member states and between the EU institutions and national governments. And that is why today's video conference and the European Council was so important. We discussed with the member states that we need an intelligent strategy that at the same time protects the health of our citizens and keeps our economy afloat and our goods and cross-border workers moving. And it is only in this way that we can provide health services with the medical gear and equipment they need, the factories with the components to build ventilators, for example, and our supermarkets with the goods to fill their shelves. The issue of medical equipment is both crucial and urgent. And as you know, the Commission is active on many fronts. It is organizing joint procurement with member states. The first results we had this week are promising. It is adopting new EU standards. That means harmonizing between all 27, making relevant ones free of charge and simplifying procedure. We want to ensure that equipment can be produced more easily, quickly and cheaply. It is also talking to industry, as I did yesterday with the producer of ventilators, to understand how to help them quickly increase and step up the production. And, of course, our discussions also focused on the economic response to the crisis. The Commission is supporting member states' efforts with all the tools at its disposal. We have, for example, activated the General Escape Clause in the Stability and Growth Pact. We have adopted a temporary state aid framework that is as flexible as never before. Together with these decisions, give the member states all the room of maneuver they need at that moment. They need the room to maneuver to provide businesses, for example, and workers with financial support. And we are mobilizing the EU budget to channel investment to the most urgent needs, notably thanks to the coronavirus response investment initiative. It is possible now to invest in the labour market, in the healthcare sector, or, for example, in other businesses that need support. This coronavirus response investment initiative has been adopted today in the European Parliament. A flexible use of the budget can help us respond to many challenges in different sectors, like the agriculture or fisheries, so we also look into that. But we must be very clear. We are in the final year of a 7-year budget. This crisis shows how important, indeed crucial, it is to have a budget that can deal with complex crises such as this one. This calls for an ambitious new European budget that will support the EU economy to recover, on one hand, and hopefully make it possible for the economy to rebound as soon as conditions allow it. Such a rebound requires first a well-thought-through exit strategy. We all have measures in place, these containment measures, social distancing, to contain the spread of the virus and to slow down the spread of the virus. Now we need to coordinate our decisions when at a certain time we want to go back to normal, because otherwise we will undermine the effectiveness of the tough measures we took. We discussed this today. We will develop such an exit strategy for our European Union. This should be based on a science-based approach, a science-based protocol, proposing when and how to move away from, for example, the social distancing measures. We will be working on these protocols with scientists and experts. And we will work together, as Charles Michel just explained, on a recovery strategy. This should allow our economy to kind of kickstart again when the right moment has come, because we should not forget we have healthy companies, and those have to bridge the gap to the time when the economy is picking up again, the orders come in again. They have to hibernate till then. Last but not least, as Charles Michel just said today, we took part in the video conference of G20 leaders. We are in a global crisis that requires a global response, and I therefore offered that the European Commission hosts an online pledging event to fund the development of a vaccine against COVID-19. This based on the initiatives, the global initiatives we know very well, for example, CEPI or the Global Preparedness Monitoring Board. We need solidarity among EU member states, but we also need solidarity across the globe. Thank you.
Thank you to the President of the Commission. We have received many questions, of course, on the socio-economic response to the COVID-19 crisis, and I'm going to start with a question from Reuters, Jan Stupczewski. The first question to both presidents is, have you discussed the letter of 9 EU leaders calling for a common debt instruments in response to the epidemic, and what were the conclusions? Will there be joint debt issuance in the Eurozone?
We have indeed discussed all the different possibilities in order to be able to face this challenge at the economic level. And we took the decision to continue all our efforts based on a very strong commitment. We are ready to do everything it takes in order to find the right solution. But indeed, we need to continue our efforts with the Eurogroup, and the Eurogroup will give within 2 weeks a new report with proposals. We had tonight a very strong political debate. It was a useful debate. It was a necessary debate, because we show that on many topics we are on the same page, and on different topics we need to continue the political dialogue between us in order to be united.
I pass the floor. Yes, please.
Thank you. There's little to add. Indeed, over the past weeks, we all have been working very hard to put in place measures to help the economy to hibernate and to fight the coronavirus crisis in the health sector. And all institutions have contributed to that. So the member states heavily by investing in their economies, but also the European Central Bank, the EIB, and the Commissions, for example, with the General Escape Clause or the State Aid and the Corona Response Investment Initiative. And all these measures have been put forward now. I think they have to sink in now. But indeed, the room is open for discussing all other possibilities that might be on the table, and therefore the tasking was very precise today from the Council towards the Eurogroup.
Thank you. I have another question by Jack Parrock from Euronews. If or when the Corona bonds are blocked, Are you already discussing and suggesting some other ways of proving to European citizens that the EU can work together on this? First to the President of the European Council and then to the President of the European Commission.
But I think it's very important to explain what we have done together with the Member States, together with the institutions the last days in order to make more progress. And it's very concrete. The fact that we took this decision regarding the growth pact, it gives more possibility for the Member States to take very strong national decisions. The fact that the European Central Bank last week has announced a very strong decision, it has already a positive effect. And the fact that with the Ministers of Finance, we are discussing in order to see what are the possible tools we can use in case of necessity in the next weeks, in the next months. And the question is also, of course, to be ready, to have the tools and to choose the right moment when we think it's useful to use the tools we have also at the economic level.
Yes, to add to that, indeed, the measures that have been put out allow member states right now to put a lot of liquidity into the economy in the member states. We also, for example, look into all the structural funds and other funds like in agriculture or in fisheries, where we can mobilize more and give more flexibility to the member states to use that money that is there already and to put it into different sectors with a lot of flexibility. With that, I think it is important to keep in mind that looking forward, the strongest sign for European solidarity is a strong European budget. This will have to be discussed over the next weeks. We will have to come to a solution, but this is a strong sign that is backing the European economy and that is showing that there is strong solidarity between the European member states and support for the European Union.
Thank you very much. We received a number of questions on MFF, notably on the European budget. I will take a question in French by Agence Europe, Mathieu Bion. Au président du Conseil européen, un accord sur le cadre financier pluriannuel est-il encore envisageable avant fin 2020?
Mais il est en tout cas certain que le budget est un des instruments dont nous pouvons disposer pour activer une stratégie de retour à cette relance européenne quand on sortira de cette crise. C'est le cas aussi pour le marché intérieur, c'est le cas aussi pour d'autres instruments comme la Banque européenne d'investissement. Et tout au long des dernières semaines, y compris les derniers jours, j'ai veillé à consulter bilatéralement les États membres sur la question du budget européen afin de pouvoir apprécier à quel moment on pourra à nouveau engager une discussion très sérieuse sur ce sujet-là. Et je partage l'opinion exprimée par la Commission européenne. Il est important de pouvoir progresser parce que disposer d'un budget européen pluriannuel, c'est pouvoir disposer des moyens qui sont nécessaires pour pouvoir affronter ce qu'on va devoir affronter, notamment sur le plan économique, mais aussi sur le plan des défis auxquels nous sommes confrontés. Le changement climatique, l'agenda digital n'ont pas disparu parce qu'il y a cette crise du coronavirus. Au contraire, je pense même que ces éléments-là seront des éléments structurants, pas les seuls probablement, mais des éléments structurants au départ desquels on pourra réussir une stratégie européenne de relance. Et je pense qu'on devra avoir une très très forte ambition sur ce sujet.
I have a question for both presidents from Louise with Danish Business Daily Borsen. From the conclusions, I understand that the Commission and the Council will be asked to work on an exit strategy or a recovery plan, a roadmap. What is the time frame and deadline for these plans to be presented?
We have indeed a strong mandate, the President of the Commission and myself, in order to propose a roadmap, to propose a strategy, because we understand it is very important to be ready and to prepare the possibility to have a strong coordination in this exit strategy in order to be able to come back to a more normal situation and to take coordinated decisions with this perspective. But another important signal is the fact that we need a recovery strategy, and we need to use all the possible tools. And it means that the European budget is one of the possible tools, but I think that the single market and the improvement of the single market is also one of the possible tools we can use in order to strengthen our capacities in the short term, in the mid-term, and in the longer term.
I think, indeed, the exit strategy is more focused on the question, well, we more or less, all member states, had to slow down public life. This slowed down the economy drastically, and in some member states there was a complete or is a complete lockdown. And we have now to look with our scientists, the epidemiologists and the virologists, first of all, what they recommend as a time frame and as factors that we have to take into account when to lift the one or the other measure and in what regions. This is important, and we are modelizing on that different scenarios. This is the scientific approach what the virus is concerned. But indeed, this is accompanied with the question, well, this is the rekindling of the economy, and then there have to be in place two things indeed. Very crucial is a strong European budget, but very crucial is also to have our single market going again and to make sure that the supply chains function, that supply chains worldwide function again. Therefore, it is a double approach to just get the mechanics back going that were in place but have been interrupted by all the measures taken to fight the virus, and on top, back the European economy by a strong European budget.
We have received a number of questions on the European Bank for Investments, in French as well. De l'agence de presse italienne Il Sole 24, Antonio Polio Salimbeni nous a envoyé cette question. Avez-vous discuté du rôle de la BEI pour des prêts afin de renforcer les systèmes de protection contre le chômage? Et si oui, une augmentation de capital serait-elle nécessaire pour les deux présidents?
Vous savez que dans la négo-box en lien avec le budget européen, j'avais proposé qu'il y ait en parallèle à une proposition sur le budget européen une décision d'augmenter le capital de la Banque européenne d'investissement. Et je reste convaincu que tôt ou tard, on devra faire en sorte que la Banque européenne d'investissement dispose de moyens additionnels pour relever tous les défis auxquels nous sommes confrontés. Et je pense en effet que la Banque européenne d'investissement est un des partenaires pour cette stratégie de relance économique qui va être nécessaire quand on sortira de la crise, est un partenaire aussi, je l'ai déjà dit, en lien avec l'ambition digitale, l'ambition pour le changement climatique. Et nous travaillons en étroite coopération avec la direction de la Banque européenne d'investissement. Et je crois aussi d'ailleurs que le Parlement européen doit avoir l'occasion de renforcer ses liens avec la Banque européenne d'investissement afin d'être pleinement mobilisé sur le plan de l'impulsion démocratique qui peut être donnée.
Madam President?
Well, everything has been said. So this was exactly the point that has been said by Charles Michel. I do not have to add anything on that.
I have a couple of more questions with regards to the disinformation in French and in English. I will first start with a question by Athanasios from Cyprus on disinformation for both presidents. What measures are you going to take against the disinformation campaign launched currently against the EU to exploit the COVID-19 crisis, since thousands of trolls operate daily, downplaying the EU response?
Well,
the first priority for us is to be transparent and to be honest and to explain what's the reality. But indeed, we have observed that the last days, the last weeks, we face again fake news, fake rumors, and it's important to make the clarity. And we count also on the responsibility of the press, because we consider that in a democracy, it's essential that the press plays fully its role. We count on you, but it's not enough. We consider also at the international level, at the geopolitical level, that it's important to implement a strategy in order to fight against these fake news operations. And that's why we have asked, especially to the High Representative Borrell, to work with us, to work with the Member States, with the Commission, in order to have a more current and a stronger approach against the fake news in general, and especially in those current circumstances.
Well, concerning fake news, there are different types that have to be fought. First of all, counterfeit and fraud is a typical thing that is connected to COVID-19. So listening to Europol shows that they are very active on fighting these counterfeit and fraud websites that are producing malware and that are producing or offering products that are certainly not fit for purpose. And there the numbers are impressive if you look on the Europol website what is being offered internet-based and how they are able to fight it. And there's a second topic indeed. This is the pure topic of fake news. Here I think the European Union over time will have to step up to systematically look at what's out there and systematically dismantle these fake news. There is quite a lot of experience by now out there how you can, in a systematic way, look at these fake news and show that and why they are fake news. So put the evidence beside that, so to prove that these are fake news. And this is a topic I think this will be accompanying us forever. It will not go away, and therefore I think we have to step up here, and I think within the Commission structures in the cybersecurity field, this focus on fighting the subject of fake news has to be reinforced.
I have a question in French. J'ai une question en français encore sur la désinformation au président du Conseil. Concrètement, comment voulez-vous contrer la désinformation? Qui est visé et pourquoi?
La meilleure manière de contrer la désinformation, c'est de dire la vérité et d'être transparent et d'être honnête. Et je pense que l'on doit effectivement, au départ de l'Union européenne, être mobilisé pour démanteler chaque fois qu'une fausse information est communiquée. Et nous mesurons bien qu'il y a dans le monde un certain nombre de groupements, d'organismes, de pays parfois, qui sont mobilisés pour diffuser, principalement, mais pas seulement via les réseaux sociaux, de fausses informations. Ce point a été abordé dans le cadre de cette réunion, abordé dans le cadre des conclusions, avec la volonté de mobiliser davantage toutes les ressources européennes afin de faire reculer cette menace, parce que cette propagation de fake news est une forme de menace. Et puis, il y a évidemment une valeur très centrale pour l'Union européenne, c'est la liberté de la presse, c'est la responsabilité de la presse. Et nous mesurons bien qu'il y a là aussi un rôle très important qui doit pouvoir être assumé.
I have one last question before we end this press conference by Politico for both the presidents. Did the leaders discuss any possibility of further coordinating the social distancing measures and lockdown provisions with an eye toward lifting them in a coordinated fashion? And was there any discussion of extending the external essential traveller restrictions, Mr. President?
Yeah, we discussed indeed the importance to reduce the spread of the virus. It means that the member states have taken at the national level very strong measures, very often confinement measures, and we see more and more the same approach at the national level between the member states, and it's very essential. It was Ursula von der Leyen has said that we organize a common exit strategy when we will consider, based on the science, that it's possible to come back to a more normal life. The fact that we are able to cooperate, to have a more harmonic approach will be very important, and we took the decision today to work together, the Commission, the European Council, in order to make some concrete proposals in the next weeks.
The spread of the virus determines the pace at which we are progressing. And indeed, for that, we need models for different scenarios. The health advisory panel that we have created on the Commission's level, consisting of renowned experts from different member states, are right now working on these models together with ECDC, and will put forward recommendations so that we can see at the stage where the spread of the virus is, or the numbers of infected, of cases of disease are, and then decide, related to their recommendation, where and when, slowly but surely, these measures can be lifted. And you know, we're in this constant dilemma because of the virus. We have to slow down public life. We have to lock down partly in order not to overstretch the healthcare system. But on the other side, every single day costs a lot of economic power, and therefore it's a permanent trade-off not to lift too early concerning the virus and the rebounds potentially of the virus, and not to lift too late concerning the economy, which is really having a hard time with these confinement measures. And therefore, the scientific-based approach, I think, is very good for the European Union. Then we have a measure and we have clear criteria with those we can work in the different member states.
I have, if you allow me, one last question, especially from Italian news agencies on ESM. Can we have an answer on the European Stability Mechanism for both presidents?
You know that the Eurogroup has started to discuss different proposals, the ESM included, and we have asked the Eurogroup to continue and to make some proposals within 2 weeks, and it will give us the possibility at the level of the European Council to discuss the different possible measures. And the important signal is based on the fact that each member state, we recognize that this crisis is exceptional, is unique, and it requires a very strong answer.
Exactly. There has been the tasking of the Eurogroup, and within the conclusions it's very clear how the task has been designed, and I think it was a time frame of 2 weeks in which the Eurogroup has to come back then with proposals.
Thank you for both presidents, and thank you to the press for following us during this press conference. We're looking forward to seeing you in real life again, and in the meantime, stay safe.